Say they packing, never lacking, but is they really though? And I'm bad back to the bone.
Like, I gotta ask this part of your transition. What was the transition like going from Walden to Moore? What was the biggest like shock to you? Probably that, that weak ass cafeteria food that was feeding us. But what
Yeah, definitely going from eating off campus, getting to go to McDonald's, Papa John's, Kroger's, wherever I want to eat, and having the choice to eat whatever they got in that cafeteria at Walden versus having to be confined to JCPS stuff that I haven't eaten in like 7 years or something since fifth grade. Definitely a step down, I'm not gonna lie. Only thing I waited for was the Wednesdays, or maybe it was Fridays, that pizza came. But even that shit was watered down. But for real, the most like shocking thing was how much I stood out. I didn't think I would stand out much. I tried my best to basically be just like this, headphones in, hoodie up, walk the halls, go to class, and then eventually, not even a week later, like people was already asking me, "Are you coming to practice? You coming to hoop?" And I'm like, How do y'all even know I hoop? Like, I ain't even talked to nobody. I don't even know who the coach is. Like, players asking me, "Am I gonna hoop?" Um, then the females, that's where I really started fucking with the females. That was kind of crazy too, because I wasn't used to that. Like, I was used to being standoffish purposely though. Like, yeah, I've messed with females, but like not like it was like at the public school. It's like I
right.
was the new mystery in the school. Gotta figure out who this nigga is. Like, and that's basically what they did. Not gonna lie, turned me out type shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Like, you know what I'm saying? I've been in public school my whole life, but I moved to Arizona for 2 years
Yeah.
high school, then I came back. I swear to God, I went to the same high school my freshman year that I graduated from my senior year. But just because, we grew up, whatever, you feel me? I came back a little bigger, whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would thought I was like a new kid. Nobody even remembered I went to that school, and everybody's in your business trying to figure out who you is, what you do,
Right.
all that other good stuff. So I feel you on that, bro. It be kind
Facts.
of wild, bro. But just want to tap back in on that bull that JCPS be feeding us, bro. My thing that bugged me the most while you was talking, bro. You remember they used to put the ranch bucket? I don't know if they did this at your school. They put the ranch bucket up there at the front, bro. So if it's Friday, trying to get your pizza, boy, and you got the last lunch of the day, everybody knuckles done been in the damn ranch.
Bro, I knew you
Oh,
was ready to say that because they let us scoop the shit out, or they scooping it themselves. I
boy,
don't
don't
even eat
be,
ranch, and I knew that shit was nasty.
don't let it be a chicken patty day, boy. You going,
And even in the cafeteria, I ain't even in that bitch.
bro, I ain't gonna lie, I don't miss it. They gotta fix that, especially after COVID. I know that bucket better not be there after COVID. On God, yo,
We got to just get the ranch bucket up out of there.
they wildin'. So, all right, cool. So we kind of tapped into this on already, but you know what I'm saying? You already say you started music with your boy on the porch. So what was like? So when did you start music exactly, and how did you come across it, and how that whole experience?
All right, so I started music late, but I always wanted to do it. I was like 8 years old listening to Eminem, and you know how Eminem is. Eminem always, you feel me? So I was like, at that age, 8 to 10, 11, I was always the one reciting lyrics. So I would like have time to myself and just be thinking like, up until I was like 14, I was just thinking like, bro, all these damn lyrics I remember like and recite to word for word, flow for flow. Like, I could fucking reverse the word and put my own shit on this shit. Like, I know I can do that. And then for like two more years, I just like played with that in my mind, basically making beats in my head in the shower, playing like acoustic renditions of my favorite songs in my heads, or making sound noises with like fucking toothbrushes and shit, just making a random beat based off of, and like kind of changing up a certain few things, obviously changing a couple of chords up and shit. And then I would go to the verse and, change the scheme a little bit, but I would never show nobody. I would just keep that shit to myself up until like we start listening to, Chief Keef, niggas like Chief Keef, niggas like Dirk, niggas like even Lil Uzi. Those are two different windows, but like that was my period of time of dealing with that, playing with it in my mind up until we got to like 2015, 2016. We started listening to instrumentals and fucking with the beat. That from there, you feel me? I would be the standout basically, you know, rapping on what's that song? It Earned It by Chief Keef. That was like the go-to for us, bro. Like we would hop on there and like my favorite part of the verse is when he's like, I spent 4 bands on a coat. So we would go, so when I got to there, everybody knew it would be me about to rap. So we would just basically, like I'd be in silence until we get to that one part and they would want to know what the fuck I'm spending 4 bands on, 5 bands on this time type shit. So that's where it basically started, feel me? It wasn't nothing too serious. But then like on my walks home, I would just be thinking like, bro, if they fuck with it, I think I can really rap, bro. Like I think you feel me. So another 2 years go by, and I'm showing my homie Velcoin. We like 17 at this point, 18. It's before we had the kids. I'm showing him my first song, and I had this song for like it was a beat from Coop. The beat's called Demon. I still remember it to this day. Um, and I'm no demon, but you feel me? I come from that history. I come from that place, so it's not hard to tap into. Feel me? Especially when all my friends is on that. So you feel me? I'm doing that, and he was like shocked. You feel me? Like he was like, "You really about to try to rap?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like basically, like why not? Like I'm listening to all this music. I fucking play with flows all day. We freestyle all day. I might as well try it. You feel me? Like so from there, it's just been wanting to, elevate in that. And then I start showing it to Kinslow. And, he would give me my feedback, which is stuff that I'm still grateful for. And he knows that to this day. And, then they would start bringing me around to music videos and they little shoots and studio sessions that they go to. And I would just soak it in till one day I just stepped up and I spent like 200 on a session and was in there for like 8 hours. Came out, had a little EP together. I had a single first, dropped it, did my EP, and from there I've been, you feel me, been working on music. I performed twice, got a music video. You feel me? I've starred in hella music videos with Coop and them. It's just been making connections with, people like Trap Steve and shit. Just been
Yeah.
making connections from there, you feel me? Trying to broaden the horizon, see what I get going, for me?
That's fire, bro. Yeah, that's fire. Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially just being a feet with, being around. It's all about relationships. You know what I'm saying? You gotta know people, work your
Network.
city and stuff with networking, exactly, bro. So most definitely. So was your name always NL Hancho? Did you have a different name or was it always that?
When I started rapping, it was NL Hancho. But I always went by Hancho since like 2016, but I always would change the front of it.
Mhm.
So NL stands for no luck, because it's no luck, it's all skill. But before no luck, I went by Instagram names basically. So like, I'm trying to think, there was Glow Hancho, which I was almost gonna do. And then even before Hancho, I was actually I was actually like throwing out names. And one of the names that I thought stuck, which was an Instagram name at the time, was Trapacana. And I was really adamant about this name. and, and sometime last year, Kinslow asked me about the name, but honestly, I think it's a throwaway. I think Tropicana was a throwaway. I like NL Hancho. I feel like it rolls off the tongue, and I thought Tropicana did. I'm not gonna lie, I was gonna go for this image with Juice and some shit like that, but you feel me? I was like, yeah, nah, maybe not. Maybe that ain't the one. But that was a name I was really adamant on, was Tropicana. Thought that name was fire.
That's what's up. That's what's up, bro. That's fire for sure. That's fire. So, going into your music, I believe the EP you're talking about with the studio session you spent 8 hours, was that Lies Reveal Truth? One of my favorite songs on there was Man Down with Mainsty, bro. So can you talk about that project a little bit and how that
Yeah.
came?
So like I said, I was basically just went out on limb, came up with 200. I had a studio session for 8 hours with this at this home studio. My friend Chris Carswell, he's pretty big in the Louisville music scene. He got his own band. Um, he was he was who I went to, sat in there for 8 hours, me and a couple friends. And I did the single, which is Dear Life. Cover art for that was basically just, I got shot once. So I used the cover art. I used the picture of me bleeding out in a car for the cover art for the story of Dear Life. And, then I went on and made Killing, Null and Void, Therapy, and Man Down at Mansky's. Made the first wave of for Therapy was made at this guy named Sean's house. And I was just messing around at that time with the vocals, and he thought I sounded like Wiz, so he was gonna use like a Wiz filter, which I've gotten a lot of throughout my life, like that I resemble Wiz a lot, and which is also a little bit of motivation for the dreads. But yeah, I did that. I did that tape. I did that mix EP at 3 different places. I did it from Mansky's, Sean's, and Chris's. And I wrapped it up. Sorry about that.
You good?
Wrapped it up at Chris's. And there we go. And Mansky, he was supposed to use that for his tape, but I needed a filler. So I was like, bro, you should let me throw it on my project. Plus, it would give us a little bit of a different sound. I like to be versatile a little bit on my tapes. I don't like to make one type of sound. So with that being more hype than all the other tracks, well, I mean, Killing and Null and Void are semi hype, but that being more the trap sound, I was messing with it. And honestly, that was the first song I recorded for the EP. Actually, I was spooked. That was my first time being at a mic, and I didn't know what I was doing, which is why at the beginning, Mansky's kind of like, man, he didn't know what to do, man. He didn't know what to do. He was just kind of talking shit. But that was basically the motto for the song, was just talk some shit. Let's just talk some shit. So he talked his shit. I talked my little shit. And I don't really talk shit like that. I like to be humble. You feel me? I like to be down to earth. There's a time and a place. And that was like not my first written, but it was my first time being at the mic. I thought I did all right. So I wanted to use it for my first EP, like a coming out party. I actually took the photo for that cover in front of his house and or his apartment. Took it in front of his apartment, and he edited it up a little bit. I edited it a little bit, and it turned into that. It looks like a picture within a picture with the picture on fire. So
That's what's up. No, that's crazy. That's my favorite song on there was Man Down. So that's why I was like, okay, that's impressive. That's your first time you actually on this song with it. So that's crazy. That's what's up. I like that. I like that.
Appreciate
and we're gonna dive back into Dear Life here in a second, but I kind of want to just go into fast forward a little bit. Truth reveals lies. You got lies with the truth. You got truth reveals lies. So I wanted to ask you on that project. You got the intro on that one was hard to me. I really felt the intro on that one, and accommodation was hard as well for me. But I wanted to ask kind of the same general question: how you come up with that, and then also like the relevancy between the two titles.
I'm gonna start with that one first. But you know how everyone does like ones, twos to their tapes and everything, or their projects. I kind of wanted to do the same thing, but I wanted to change up the wording a little bit, where it's still the same title, like kind of like how some movie titles are. It's like it's the same movie, it's the sequel to it, but it's labeled something different. But it correlates to the last title. So Lies Reveal Truth, I feel like was me. I hadn't yet really realized a bunch of stuff. So a lot of things in my life leading up to that time, I feel like were a bunch of lies leading up to the truth. So then the truth of the lies is me reflecting on all of the lies that I've lived through, and realizing to come to realization that there's a bunch of truth within those lies that I had to weave in and out of. So that was the thought process behind the title. It was for it to be a sequel, which in my opinion it is. And I just was coming to realization on a lot of stuff that I was holding on to, dwelling on, stuff like that, that I actually got closure on. So came up with that title. And then the art cover, um, the art cover or cover art was made by this one dude. I'm not too familiar with him, but he's a friend of someone I know that makes, or I think it's his brother. He makes clothing. His name's Aldair. His brother is who helped me with the cover art, and the process behind that was that, you know, they say the world's flat, they say it's circular. I'm like, maybe it could be a fucking cube. Like, who fucking knows? Like,
Yeah,
so, you know, truth or feel lies. It's like we'll find out one day, I guess. Like, shit, we'll find out who's lying and who's telling the truth about the world being flat, circular, spherical, or a cube. Who fucking knows? So that was the process behind that. Um, as far as the tracks, um, for me, that's my most personal tape so far. It being that I'm coming to a realization on a lot of stuff, which is why the flow of the tape is a lot more slow. And I was going for like a bit of a theatrical feel with the intro and everything, and then the outro kind of fading out, like how the intro kind of fades in, the outro fades out at the very end, and they're static and everything. And at the beginning, I'm like telling you the intro to my life about shit that I went through. I'm no different than you, or, you know, people that come from where I come from. So even though I don't necessarily lead that life, still dealt with my fair share of bullshit. You know, being shot wasn't part of the plan, but there I was. So you feel me? I really, really enjoyed that, making that tape. I was around some good people, good vibes, made some great memories behind it. Coop, of course, made every beat. And we just went in multiple long nights in the studio. I was even in the studio on my birthday for that tape, for that project. It was, for me, I was all gas for that. I was willing to do anything for that tape.
that's fire, bro. That's fire. And I mean, you brought up Dear Life a few times, and you said that was the first single you put out.
Yeah,
I was, one of the things that he kind of talked about getting shot. I want to talk about you being shot as well, kind of more in depth. But one of the things that that stood out to me in that song was, you're talking about losing people, um,
mm-hmm.
and even friends who were dead weight. Was one of the things I believe you said in that song.
Yeah.
Talk about just their life, bro, and how what made you make that song. Um, how did you realize, friends who are dead weight who you need to separate yourself from, and you know what I'm saying? Talk about some of the people, not whatever you're open to talking about,
Right.
losing some people and stuff like that.
Well, as far as losing people, I was just now coming to with the idea of not having my grandmother, not having my aunt who passed away from cancer, both of them, and friends, basically. One of those friends being who I was talking about earlier, my friend Velquan, being dead weight, because you feel me, it was evident. I like thinking back on it, there was clear signs that, we weren't going to be friends for very long. There was just things that would be said and, ways people act around me. Sorry about that. That just threw me off, where I'm starting to, whether I'm feeling like I'm the one holding them back or I'm feeling like they're holding me back. There were times where after I showed them my first song, it was kind of like when you start to begin to do something and people don't believe you that you're gonna do it, but since you're doing it, it's like they can't denounce that you're doing it, but they're like, the way they look at you is like, you're really doing this, like you are doing this. Like, I just can't see you doing this. Like yeah, it sounds okay, but I just don't see you doing it. Like they try to like talk you out of it, damn near, like not downing you, but downing you. Like they don't tell you it's garbage. They just like laugh at the fact that you're really trying this shit. So I
Mm-hmm.
felt like that was dead weight in my opinion. So there was a few other people, things that I ran into, people that I shouldn't have been hanging around with, that I realized, when I started focusing on my music, like they were just dead weight. And that me being shy was that took a lot of that you feel me? Even within the 15 seconds I was on the ground, I had a lot that I thought about. Had a lot that I thought about, from people in my life to what's in my life that I just started, like my children. And once I got up and got to the hospital and everything, I just, reflected on those people that I was around. Had to take a couple steps back, and that's when I doubled down on the music, started to release, because I actually had a bunch of songs, or have a bunch of songs, with a friend of mine. He's like my brother. He's like my little brother. His name's Z. He was who I was with, sadly, but I don't blame him for it. But that was a person that I realized I couldn't be in front of every day with these things. And like, I hate to say that he would be dead weight, but you feel me, like, and that's what we talked about a lot, was him, the life that he led, it being a dead weight in a sense, like, it could lead him down the wrong path, which could, if I'm around him, could steer me down the wrong path. Like, and I don't want that for him. So, I tried everything I could to keep him even out of that by, occupying him with music, like that was something that he didn't even know he was able to really do. He was just fucking around with it just like I was. And I seen that in him from my perspective, and I just wanted to give him a place to let his thoughts out. He deals with a lot. So I just wanted to give him that. And so he made it to TRL. He was supposed to be on there a few different times, but I only ended up letting him stay on one track. But yeah, we got a bunch of songs in the vault between me and him that were pretty much predecessors for TRL. And he helped with a lot of the creative process on that too, it being a personal mixtape.
For sure, bro. I think one of those things that one thing that you touched on is important, is like, you got to kind of separate yourself to elevate yourself. You know what I'm saying? You can't be doing the same things, expecting new results. You got to, separation leads to elevation. So that's crazy. But, one of the things you keep talking about throughout this interview is just the time you got shot, man. So I was just hoping to, tap into that a little bit, man. Can you tap in about that day? What was that day like? That whole, what was going on? Because
Yeah, I didn't even expect it. I didn't even see it coming. Honestly, like, it's the last thing I would expect happen to me. Just based off of how I lead my life, and people around me, even those that were there, would tell you the same thing. Like, no matter what they were into, they never would have thought that I would have gotten caught in that, because I stay far away from that. It just happened to be a wrong time, wrong place type of thing. We were walking back from the store. We stopped to talk to one of his friends. We showed off some music, and shit went down. Shit was kind of quick. It was super quick for sure. And I kind of froze in my foot. I froze in my feet a little bit, because I wasn't scared, but I was just like astonished. Like, damn, are you serious? Like, it's 8 o'clock. It's not even like the things I was thinking. This is shit I'm thinking. I'm like, it's like 8 o'clock. This nigga's really like, I guess there's no real time limit to it. I guess, like, it ain't even dark yet. Like, what the fuck? Like, so shit was kind of fascinating, but at the same time, it got real quick. So it's kind of surreal. I can't really put it to words. It's what I be trying to do in some of my songs. Be trying to put it in words, put it in perspective for people to see where I'm coming from. And it's a little hard, because you feel me, I don't even know where I'm coming from, considering it's nothing I've ever thought I'd ever have to talk about. So
yeah,
it
that's
sticks
crazy.
with me for sure.
You just walking back from the store, and just randomly people just start